This Confluent and Splunk demo provides an IoT-based use case example using data that we're collecting from planes that are flying above us in the sky. Using a number of antennas that we've got located in England and the UK, we can get good coverage of planes that are flying in the sky. The data we collect from these planes is in real time, and we are producing that to Confluent Cloud using a Python-based Kafka producer. Once that data is in Confluent Cloud, we are using KSQLdb to transform and enrich the data and stream that data in real time using Kafka Connect to sync that into Splunk Cloud. Once it is in Splunk Cloud, we can then produce a dashboard based on that real-time data to provide a live overview and map of where the planes are right now. So what we are seeing here on this dashboard called Airplanes Live is basically a current view of what the planes are doing. So for example, I can see there are 102 planes in the sky right now, and there are also 41 ascending planes, for example, which is more than there are that are descending, so more of them are flying up rather than down. We have a live map which shows us where the planes are, and I can hover over any of the planes here to get more detail about what they are doing. So for example, this is a Virgin Atlantic plane, and it's at nearly 24,000 feet. I can see, for example, it's going at 470 knots ground speed, and it's rising, and it's got a vertical rate of 928 feet per minute. See where it is in the UK as well. I can see it's kind of nearish to Birmingham, and I can see there are a lot of different planes here. Each colour represents an airline. So this orange one, for example, shows EasyJet, and I can see different airlines here as well. On the second tab, I've got a live data view, so I can see when was the last update about particular planes. So for example, I can see this British Airways plane here had a last update of 10:19 and 27 seconds. It was at 39,000 feet and going at 444 knots. And again, this updates in real time as we get more updates about the planes that are in the sky. So just a bit about the architecture for how we built this demo. We have a number of antennas from different locations. At these sites in the UK, we are using a Python producer which reads the data from the antennas and produces it into Confluent Cloud. This data format is ADS-B, which is a plain communication standard, and it provides details about what altitude the plane is at and the other statistics that we've seen in this demo. Once the data is in Confluent Cloud, we use KSQLdb to transform and enrich the data. There are a number of challenges that we had, and I'll come on to that once I show you Confluent shortly. But once the data is transformed and enriched, we then just sync that data to Splunk Cloud using Kafka Connect. So just to show you in Confluent Cloud, we have a number of topics that we've got for this. The first topic I wanted to show you was the airplanes topic. This is literally the raw data as it comes from the antenna. So if I go on to messages and show you one of the latest messages, I can see a message that's been logged here. Now, one of the data issues that you'll notice is that a lot of the fields here are null, and that is because not every ADS-B message contains all of the data every time. So one of the things we have to do within KSQLdb is provide a way of only showing the latest value for each message rather than reverting to null if that data is not included. So as each message comes in about a plane, and as certain fields are included, we can update that over time. And I have done this within the airplane latest topic, for example, here. So within airplane latest and messages, If I then click onto another similar message, instead of seeing null fields, we now have data for each of the fields about this plane, and this updates as new data comes in. So, for example, if a message is produced with just the vertical rate field, for example, then only the vertical rate will update within this message. Other fields will just have the latest value from when they were last updated. This allows us to avoid having null fields and allows us to keep the messages more structured and more readable as well. Under topics, we have the airline lookup as well. Now this does something very simple really. This is a static topic where we just have a transformation available for the call sign of the plane, using the first 3 letters of the call sign to then translate that into the name of the airline and what country that airline originates from. Using KSQLdb, we can then join the lookup table to the airplane latest data and produce this final topic that we've got called airplane latest enriched. Within each of the messages here, we now have, similar to the airplane latest topic, the data about the planes, but we also now have the airline and also the country that the airline originates from. And that's using the topic that we've got, which provides that information about the airline. As I've mentioned so far, that this is done using KSQLdb. So just to quickly show you KSQLdb. KSQLdb is a SQL-like editor for data transformation and data enrichment within Confluent Cloud. We have a number of persistent queries that we've set up to do this. So this is the airplane latest query. You can see that there is a similarity here to SQL, if you're familiar. And we've got a number of functions. This latest by offset, which is providing the latest value for each of the fields that we've got. So there are a lot of those, as we need kind of the latest data for each of those statistics that we've got. At the end, we're just grouping by the hex item, which is the unique identifier for the plane, and then we are basically emitting those changes, so we are sending that to the airplane's latest topic. And then for the other example I talked about, which was the airline lookup, this uses a simple join, a left outer join here, to join on the short call sign, so the first 3 letters of the call sign, to then output the airplane and the airline and the country that the airline originates from. And these KSQLdb queries are running in real time. We can go to connectors and we can see our Splunk sync connector here, which is what is allowing Splunk to consume the data from our topic. Here we can see that it's running well. And if we now just go back to the dashboard, we can see the data is still coming through. And that is the Splunk and Confluent Airplanes demo. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, please do contact us.